Hopefully it will be live now to everybody in the planet. Great. Okay, so we should be live on Theta, Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook Live. Yeah, okay, great. So good morning to everyone. Let me go through the list. Let's see. We have over on Theta, we've got Crypto Vixen, we've got K Sparkus, we've got Biotech Breakout, we've got Crypto Noob. Over on YouTube, we got Sylvia, Scott, Nara, Michael Murphy, P. Kelly, Jimmy James, Steve. We got Hoop and Tony. We've got Frank Leopard, SJO, Theta TV, JR80, Hits NDC over here on Clubhouse. Let us not forget our Clubhouse fam. We got Antonio. We've got Adam, Christian, Stefan, Gino, Brandon, David, Jacqueline, Denise, Constantino, Chelsea, Shay, Kimmy, Nathan. What's going on, Nathan? Mono, Carolina, and we've got Miroslawa and Natasha and whoever else joins. Cool. We got Demayan. We've got Tommy Bernard. Man, we just got all sorts of peeps. So hello to everyone. We will be right back. We're gonna get this thing going after about 30 seconds of cool, colorful graphics, and then we will officially start and we'll introduce you and learn a little bit about Fun Show and what he's doing with We Coach Crypto and kind of bringing people into the space. And we will be right back. So before we get into market fun, I think people would love to learn a little bit more about you, especially for those of you that don't know Fun Show. So who in the hell is Fun Show?
Well, I'm 39. I have dark hair. Well, I have been somebody that has had a keen interest in blockchain technology and cryptocurrency for many, many years. I've been an investor for over 5.5 years. I built a global blockchain business directory to try and help basically the entire space have a platform to be able to be found, because I knew it was going to change the world. And I, as an investor, started doing pretty well, started helping friends, family, ended up making a business from it called We Coach Crypto. And I've made it my mission to help people that are interested in purchasing cryptocurrency and changing their wealth, to help onboard them into this marketplace safely, securely, with the right type of education. And I pride myself on doing that, and it's been going pretty well.
So who are most of your clients? So are you getting people that are just entering the crypto space for the first time, or are you getting people that have kind of messed with it and they had trouble? Like who's your target audience?
Well, it's a bit of both, and there's also another massive part of my target audience that is completely away from both of those. So we get a lot of beginners that have, they've heard what Bitcoin is, that's it, but they haven't got a clue what digital currencies are. They need that guidance, they need that education before they even think about putting any money in to invest, and that's really important. Then we've also got some people that have just bought a few coins, and it's horrifying actually, some of the tokens that they've bought off the back of just looking at different tweets that are out there for practically non-existent projects, that you just hold your head in horror and just think, oh my God, what have you bought? And then there's another side, which is huge, which is people that have gone into the Forex market or into signals and they've lost a ton of money, whether they've been scammed or whether they've got it completely wrong. And it's almost like having to teach them from the beginning all over again. Like, this marketplace is completely different. The way it behaves is different. Its volatility is different. Your mindset needs to be different. In terms of setting up a strategy, making sure it's affordable for them. It's so important to cover so many things, and you've got to identify with each person that you talk to where they are in their journey too. So we also have people that are actually doing okay, and they've got a pretty good understanding of the crypto market, but they're sort of not sure what projects they should go into. Like the strategy that they've got long term or exiting is non-existent. So we help a lot with people with that as well. But at the moment, it's sort of full steam ahead with the business. It's going extremely well, and I just wanted to set aside some time, as you know, Nick, every single day with Crypto Cognition, just to give people something back, really, to try and help them to understand the marketplace. And I think it's even better than what I can offer, because you're there, lots of other people are there, we've all got our own sort of expertise within the space, and it's just a great place to come and chat and find out more and ask questions. So it's been brilliant for me. I've enjoyed the entire journey so far. Oh, I can't hear you, Nick.
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
This is kind of weird lag. If people wanted to get in touch with you, how would they reach out? How would they find what you guys are doing and kind of either get some assistance or help you out, or how would they get in touch?
Right. So they could go onto our website, which is wecoachcrypto.com, and they can make contact with us from there. We're across all of the social media platforms, the majority of them. You just put in @wecoachcrypto. You'll find us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Theta TV. Thank you, Nick. And yeah, most places. But also you could ping us an email. It's just info@wecoachcrypto.com. Oh, you're muted again, Nick.
There we go.
There you go.
Now, let's do this. Let's take a look at what's going on with prices. Let's not ignore these markets.
Yeah.
So let's go 1 and 2. And what is going on here? We'll start with Bitcoin. We'll go down the list. Bitcoin is currently $47,692. This thing's been flapping all over the place. It got down to 46.7. It's popped up just recently, getting close to closing out the day. Let's see. Anything to discuss other than Ethereum just breaking an all-time high again today? What are your thoughts? Let's talk Bitcoin first and foremost. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin right now?
It has been on one heck of a run recently. It's so difficult to tell. You know, I believe prior to Elon Musk's tweet, the market was likely to retract a little bit, and we still haven't had that opportunity for that to happen, which I thought was just a small, healthy retraction that was on its way. And then good old 1.5 billion Elon decided to send us off to the stratosphere again. Obviously, today, Bitcoin's kind of linear. It's not really moved too much. But in terms of where we're going to next, it's so difficult to really tell. But one thing I know is you can't go parabolic constantly. You know, at some point you've got to give a little bit back. It's just deciding when that's likely to be. So it's a tricky one for me at the moment with Bitcoin, I'll be honest.
Yeah, Bitcoin's interesting to me. It's kind of a proxy to the greater market, but Bitcoin is my stable coin. So I take profit. I don't take profit back into US dollars. I take profit back into Bitcoin. So I have been starting to scrape off a little bit of profit from some of this run. I think we've gone too far too fast. And I don't know if all of that is warranted. And I think at some point people are going to take a breather. My gut kind of tells me we're at the edge of a little bit of profit taking. So yeah. I've started kind of skimming a little bit, right? I've had some of my people skimming a little bit of DOT, a little bit of Cardano, a little bit XLM. I think moved too fast. GRT I think moved a little too fast. So we've been skimming a little bit. Now I hope I'm wrong and it completely laughs in my face and the market keeps moving. I'm willing to accept that. What I'm not willing to do is give it all back. Right?
Yeah, I'm with you there.
We worked far too hard to give it all back. And I would just urge, as we're going through these prices, and those of you that are looking and you're saying, man, I made a 6X or a 5X. Anybody that lived through 2017, it's like living through a depression. you realize that if you had taken some profit, you might be doing pretty damn good right now.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to take some profit. Now, where you take that profit, that's the game, right? And you have to decide where you're willing to sit. Where would you take profit? If you were going to take, and I'm not saying which point, but fun show, if you were taking profit, what coins are you planting your profits in? Would you use stable coins? Would you use Bitcoin, Ethereum? Where would you put your profit?
Well, I think Bitcoin, and especially at the moment, Ethereum would be a great place at the moment. Stable coins, I find that it's more at the moment that you think something bad's going to happen, they come in very useful. But I had a similar conversation with all my inner circle earlier today, and I said to them, look, you know, what you've got to bear in mind is here, and some of the people that have come in are quite new, and they just think that this is, you know, rainbows and unicorns at the moment. And it's just like, yeah, it does seem that way, but you've got to understand that there are people that have been in this for a long time. They could be pulling profits of 50K Bitcoin. Okay, they might not. It might be 60, it might be 75. But some of the people can substantially move the marketplace, start a sell-off, and at that point, you know, it's panic stations. So it's always more sensible to just take some level of small profits during your journey, but look at what is my savings account. And I think it's the perfect way that you said it before, Nick, as well. You know, you've got to look at coins like Bitcoin, coins like Ethereum as your savings pot. So I don't mind if the price of Bitcoin comes down. I don't mind if the price of Ethereum comes down, provided the rest of the marketplace and a lot of those alts where I've taken, you know, nice substantial profit gains, I've got it back in there so that when it starts moving back up again, I'm continually adding to my wealth and seeing that growth.
Yeah. One of the things, so a lot of people were asking like, well, you know, somebody said, expat, was it expat? No, Hoop and Tony said, seriously, profit into Ethereum? You know, as if, why would you do that? Well, I have certain plays that are picks and shovels plays against Ethereum. And the whole purpose, like for instance, GRT to me, Graph Token, is an Ethereum play. So if I can make some profit in Graph Token, which for anybody that's been following it, you know, you're up a retarded amount. It was it's up 32% on the day, but it's up 700% over the last month, 151% on the last week. If you made some profit there, it's an Ethereum play. Taking some cash back to Ethereum or taking some profit back to Ethereum is not a bad idea. For me, it makes sense, right? Yes, Ethereum is my stable coin. I mean, you know, Ethereum is the stable coin of altcoins, I guess is the way to say it. My stable coin is Bitcoin, but Ethereum does, it is kind of the other soundest money. And again, I would not leave money in Ethereum because I think, well, value. I wouldn't have value trapped in Ethereum for 3 years, but I'm welcome to have it trapped in Ethereum for the next 3 to 6 months, a year, while we see all these kind of big-handed, you know, hedge fund guys pimp it on all their friends. They're liable to push this thing up to 5, 6, 10,000. So, I mean, again, I think it's okay to take like assets to like assets. But anyway, that's the way my brain looks at it. Do you have any other assets other than Bitcoin, Fun Show, or stablecoin that you would park in?
Personally, no. Just because for this marketplace in particular, I just think that it's really important to practice what you preach. So I've got a lot of students that, you know, I have to look at with their portfolios themselves because I help them with them. You know, is that something that I would do? And I have to make sure that I'm being true to myself on that. So like you've just said, and it's perfect, I'd have said it exactly the same way. You know, the next 6 months to maybe even a year, I'm happy to be sat in something like Ethereum. Bitcoin, I've been sat in it for a long time, and I would always recommend that people are sat in it if they're going to be playing around in this game. I mean, where else are you going to sit? You know, in the pound or the dollar? It's just, it's not even conceivable for my brain to work that way. But they're the two. But at the same time, I've got to tell you, Cardano to me is one attractive looking alternative coin there. I have to, I've had an eye on it for a while. I got into it pretty early, and it just looks to me like it's unstoppable right now. And I think that it's going to continue to gain a hell of a lot of attention from people. And the next person that comes out, the next Elon Musk that comes and throws a load of money, or the next major business that comes and puts their name to this market, you're going to get a lot of people to take note. I mean, at the end of the day, Cardano's in a fantastic position right now, and this staking platform is unbelievable. And I just think that it can't be ignored. Like you said, those top two, they're seen as like a store of wealth now. And I think it's only a matter of time before people are going to look at Cardano in the same light. I mean, I know how much you like it, but it's got me now as well. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, Cardano is very interesting for a lot of reasons, but I will say this, fair warning to everyone, Cardano still needs to prove itself. The token needs to roll out in a meaningful way, meaning token locking, token issuance. They need to scale in a meaningful way. We need to know that Hydra is coming. So there's many things. The Goguen rollout needs to continue, and we need to see that. Not only is the Mary hard fork successful on the test net, but we need to see it successful in the main net. That's not to detract from anything they've done, but we have to be fair. There are people out there that say, hey, right now it's vapor. And while I won't say it's vapor, they still need to prove to us that they deserve to be here. And I think they will do that, but it's still a fair amount of speculation. Now, I got an interesting question. Before we get to Ethereum, let's talk about this. Nara asks, what about new people? Would you say this is a good time to enter the market? What would you say to that, Funsho?
Okay. So, yes, I would say it's a good time to enter the market. Yes, of course, there is the possibility of the marketplace retracting, but there is just as much an element of risk sitting on the sidelines waiting for the market to retract to a certain price when the next Elon Musk could come out and buy up a huge amount and it takes off like a rocket even further. I get asked that a lot. When's the best time to buy Bitcoin? 2009. When's the second best time? Right now. I'm not saying to people, go out and put all your life savings into this. But what I am saying is, if you've got that interest and you're genuinely considering getting into the marketplace, what's actually more important is knowing what you're doing, navigating that market, understanding what these projects are, carrying out that research into each project, and making sure that you're investing a sensible amount that's affordable for you at the right time, and then getting involved. So, yes, we might be able to sit here and say, yeah, the market's, slightly overpumped at the moment and it's likely to drop a little bit, but you just don't know. Another hedge fund can come and whack another 2 billion down, and it's literally, that's the part that people are struggling with now. I think that we're a snowball that's at the top of the mountain that's started to gain a little bit of traction, and nobody knows when that next huge growth is going to come from somebody that is outside of what naturally we're expecting to happen with this market. I think it's extremely easy to actually, after a while, once you've been in this, to go, yeah, I think the market's going to carry on for a while, or yeah, do you know what, it's likely to pull back a little bit. But when someone like Elon Musk just goes and buys 1.5 billion, that's out of the park. You're in no man's land at that point. And what we're looking at now is the after effects of that. Slight slowdown in Bitcoin. Looking at the market now, it could slow down a bit. But what about the people that get paid today, at the end of today? What about the people that were looking at Elon Musk's tweet and they don't get paid until the end of the month and they want to get involved in this? It's there's a lot to take into consideration, I think.
So we're going to do some soul crushing here in just a second, because there's a question here about Cardano and Twitter. So I'm going to crush some souls and some hopes and dreams and go ahead and squash those, but not just yet. Before we get there, we need to talk about Ethereum. We're at $1,811. So again, we're still in price discovery, all-time high for Ethereum. It's up 69, basically 70% on the month, 5% on the week, 1% on the day, all-time high range. What are you thinking?
God, it's again, if the market pulls back a bit, it pulls back a bit. But I think Ethereum's going to perform amazing this year. I think that we could easily see between a $5,000 and $10,000 Ethereum this year. Again, not financial advice, not telling people to go and buy Ethereum, but it's going to perform well until, well, till the near future, till there's any massive competitor. And I think that Polkadot's got a little bit of work to do in terms of that. With the gas fees, it's a problem for Ethereum, but it's a problem if you are a project that's using Ethereum's blockchain. If you are an investor and you are literally looking at buying Ethereum because you're speculating on the price moving up in value, then this is a great thing to be looking at, in my opinion. Whereas I think a lot of the projects that are currently using Ethereum that have to do daily transactions and are getting crushed by these fees, it's a whole different ballgame. They're probably going to be looking at a lot of the other projects that are out there and considering, perhaps moving over. And I think it's all about how long that transition takes and how long it takes Ethereum to fix the gas fee problem. But I think Ethereum's going to go up in value a lot more than what it's currently valued at now.
Now, it's funny. There was an article I was reading this morning because I don't sleep anymore. And the article was talking about some companies that are leaving Ethereum and they're porting over to Binance Chain. And they're simply doing it because right now they don't think there's a meaningful way to go to Polkadot, and obviously Cardano, you can't even do it yet. So that, we're still weeks away. And they said that, the worry was if they don't port over soon, they might not have a business model to transition to another platform because of the fees. And days like this, when you say, yeah, Ethereum's up, everybody else that's developing is saying, no, Ethereum is up. This is not good. So you've got a kind of an interesting war going on. But let's get past Ethereum. Price wise, if you're in Ethereum, congrats, you're kicking butt. If you're in Bitcoin, congrats, you're kicking butt. And then there is the new number 3, which is Cardano. It's currently at 91, almost 92 cents. And its numbers are pretty good. It's up 214% on the month. It's up 80% on the week. It is down about 4.5%. Yesterday, it was touching up in the high 90s. I thought it was threatening $1. We might see some consolidation, which makes sense on a run of 2x in 30 days. So I think that would be completely fair. Now, let's talk about Cardano. What are your thoughts on the musings of some people that there is a Cardano Twitter, Charles Hoskinson, Dorsey agreement to build a decentralized social network? What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know how likely it is to happen. I'll be honest, I haven't got a huge amount of information on it. And I think that the fact that I haven't got a huge amount of information on it sort of tells me that it's maybe more hearsay than reality. I just think that we're so early on, and news is something that can get twisted so quickly. I don't know. It's possible, isn't it? But I don't know how much reality there is in it. I mean, how much do you know about it, Nick? It's
Damn it. I'm back and forth. Sorry about that. So there was the announcement of a liquidity partner. I know. There was an announcement of a liquidity partner. We don't know what that means, but I guarantee you he wouldn't be front running a big giant announcement other than to say there's an announcement. He's not going to say, this is coming, here's my partner, all of this kind of coded stuff. That's not really, to me, that's not Charles. So I think there is zero likelihood that this is going to happen unless somebody like Dorsey can be swayed by a couple of Charles AMAs. I think it's less likely than Ethereum porting over to Cardano.
That's fair. That is fair. I think you're right with what you're saying. It's extremely unlikely. It's not impossible, but it's extremely unlikely for sure.
I mean, Charles is not the kind of guy that whispers sweet nothings into all of our ears, right? And like, this is what's coming, everyone. All he says is, we're going to make big moves. And you know what? They make big moves. And I also don't think he would betray Dorsey that way. If they did have a deal, he's not going to whisper about it and all this other stupid bullcrap. So in my opinion, that's all nonsense and just, gums. Let's move on. Let's talk about a very peculiar price trend, and that is that XRP, oddly enough, keeps going up. What in the F is going on with XRP?
Wow. It seems to be continuing to rise, even with all of this, negative press that's been around it. What I think is, it's almost like something in the human brain. And we had a conversation about this yesterday in Crypto Cognition about the price of certain cryptocurrencies and whether it would be a turnoff or something that would be attractive to people that are new investors coming into the space. Now, to seasoned veterans that have been in the space for a long time, you get a good understanding about certain projects. The whole SEC thing that's going on is it's making people sort of and ah about what's going on with XRP, but ultimately it's not an overly expensive token to purchase. And if you're new to this space, you don't really know a great deal about these projects and you just want to get involved. I can see that there's an element of purchases that have taken place from that, but also there's been quite a bit of drip-fed news over the last few weeks that is kind of indicating that there may be, this might get dealt with out of court. Well, not out of court, they're in court, but it might get dealt with as a fine. And it's sort of onwards and upwards for them. And they've managed to, Ripple as a company, I think, get another 18 countries and about another 15 or so other partnerships with some payment providers. So it's like that they're not stopped dead in their tracks. And, the numbers don't lie either in terms of the way that it's performed over the last sort of 30 days. And I mean, it's up 12% today, which is, it's surprising considering that this is a token that, has got all of this fire underneath it. It's very strange to me. Very strange.
To me, this looks a lot like religion. This looks a lot like a cult. It looks a lot less like an investment and a lot more like a belief system. Literally a cult-like belief system. And I think those are very powerful. Don't stand in the way of a cult, right? Look at Tesla. Tesla's made more money in the 2 months that they've owned Bitcoin than in the last 14 years of car sales, right? So Tesla, you could argue Tesla is a Bitcoin company, right? You could argue MicroStrategies is a Bitcoin company. I don't think you can argue that any company is an XRP company on earth. I don't care what they say about partnerships and all that kind of stuff. It's not showing up in the ODL, right? You can track this stuff. You can look up, you can Google on-demand liquidity. I used to show it on the show all the time. 3 million a day, 2 million a day. For a company that's trying to disrupt a $5 trillion market, 2 million a day, 2.8 million a day. That's not meaningful. It's not. It's not a market. It's not meaningful. Those aren't partnerships. I don't care. Look, it's the same way Link has partnerships. They go and buy cell phone service from AT&T. They put out a press release, partnered with AT&T. Well, yeah, in the sense that you pay us $149 a month for a fucking cell phone, but don't try to act like this is some partnership where we're going to hold hands and at the board, in the boardroom and dance on the table. I mean, it's so, again, I think you have a very compliant group of individuals that want XRP to succeed. And as an investor and hoping in the success of the whole space, I want XRP to succeed. And even though people hate Ripple, I want Ripple to succeed because I think overall it's really good for crypto. It's really good for the crypto space. Even if you hate Ripple, it's still really good for crypto if a company that's dedicated to pushing the utility of a digital asset has success. It's important to move these banks forward, even if this is just a stair step. They work with Ripple until the state-backed digital assets come out. And you have a digital pound, digital sterling, digital renminbi, digital euro, digital dollar, all this kind of stuff. Great. And maybe Ripple goes away at that point. Or maybe they just become a software company and there's a meaningful cut between XRP, the currency, and Ripple, the ledger, and blah, 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 right? And Ripple controlling the ledger, all this. But right now, I would love to see Ripple succeed, them get out of the way of this SEC bullcrap. I do hope that Brad Garlinghouse goes away because he's a piece of shit. And Chris Larson is, a piece of shit. But if those guys go away, I am a big supporter of this company. I'm a big supporter of the other 400 people that work there that are not pieces of shit, that are decent people, that are not selling against the investors, which is most of us, right? So I want them to succeed. I want it for the space. I want it for the individuals there, and I want it for every investor, right? But it doesn't matter if I want real bad. I can want in one hand and take a dump in the other and see which one fills up quicker, right? Like, it doesn't matter what I want, is the realities of these markets. And I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me other than this cult activist following. Because if you look at all these articles, none of these articles are real. Let's be honest, they're not real articles. They're like the XRP Daily. I wonder what the XRP Daily's articles look like, right? Or they're articles from Coil that show Elon Musk like on a spaceship with a dog and an XRP token. And they're like, look, it's a partnership. It's guaranteed. XRP is going to fucking Mars. No, man, dial it down. And so I think what we're really seeing is kind of a reverse squeeze where the token is illiquid in most US markets and people are speculating on it around those markets. A little bit through Uphold if you're a US client, but mostly through places like Bitrue and then, kind of exterior exchanges outside the United States, a lot probably on Binance. This is a speculator's play until they get out from under the SEC, because I don't care how many partnerships they say they got. If you're a banking institution, you're not doing a fucking deal with Ripple until the SEC, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, gives them the green thumb. You can't risk getting cut off. You cannot risk getting cut off, period. So I just would say, just be careful what you read and maybe look at the sources. That's not just for XRP news, that's for all news, right? And again, I'm not a hater. I want everyone to succeed. I don't like anybody losing a single dollar. I want everybody in this space because we've all earned it, right? We came here early. We're early, man. I want everybody that's here early to win. But I also want you to realize what you're owning and what the risks are and quit being so fucking cultist. It's not a religion. None of these people that invented any of that, if Satoshi, Adam Back, was here right now listening to us, do you think he gives a shit if you can't pay rent? No. Do you think Brad Garlinghouse gives a shit if you can't pay rent? No. Chris Larson? No. Jeb McCaleb? No. Go all the way down. You'll probably find one guy that probably cares. Charles Hoskinson. Right? That's the only guy that cares if you can't pay your fucking rent. Nobody else cares about you. And so what I say to the investor is, you don't have an obligation to care about them on a personal level. This is about your balance sheet and about your future. All right, there's my rant. I always have to have a good rant.
I love that rant.
You want a rant? Do you want to have a random rant?
I hate the banks. I hate them. No, I love that. I love what you're saying though, and I love the passion. And you're right. You know, it's belief. I mean, if you look at every single coin that's in here, we all started at some point. It's like you believe in it. You believe in that project. You believe where it's going. You believe it's going to grow in value. You believe in the bigger picture. So you're right. I mean, and let's be honest. The XRP community is pretty big, and they've got a lot of support. They've and you're right with what you're saying too about the news as well. You do have to be careful, you know. the xrpdaily.co.uk or something. I get that fully. You've got to be careful what you're reading, and don't just go with the title either. You know, look through that entire piece and then see if you can find information about it elsewhere too before you come to any conclusions. So yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, and it's just crazy.
Let me float this to you, Funcho. What do you think about the idea? And I've been trying to tell people this, and I would hope that XRP Bully was going to run with it, but he just, I don't know. But anyway, my idea was the XRP community needs to take control of that escrow. They need to create a community fund where it's controlled by a third party. That party could fund treasury functions. It could create a developer community and incentivize that. It could convert the current system into a proof of stake system where every XRP holder, similar to Cardano, could point their stake at certain stake pools. And that would create an environment where you could both vote on future progress and governance on the ledger and you know, because again, like they always say at Ripple, if Ripple goes away, XRP will survive. Okay, well, if that's the case, then I think the XRP holders need to start thinking about the possibility that there's a future where those two things part ways, right? Where Ripple goes one way for the benefit of their shareholders, their equity holders, and their senior note holders, and that way may not be the same direction as XRP, the token, if they are truly separate. And another thing, by the way, now that we're talking about it, if the banks are willing to use Ripple software and not XRP, I guarantee you that Ripple will side with the banks and not with the XRP holders. They've already shown you they'll do that. Why? Because they paid MoneyGram $61.3 million to not use any XRP. So that right there should be a huge red flag. So yes, they're separate. If we are to believe them, they are completely separate. And if we are to believe them, there is a potential that Ripple goes in a direction that's not pro XRP. It's pro Ripple. And you know what? I don't blame them. That's their fucking job. Their job is to their shareholders. Their job is to their equity holders. And their job is to their seed investors, as well as their senior debt holders. That's what their real job is. XRP is a secondary. It always has been for Ripple. Why do you think they sell it so fucking quick? Right? Would Brad Garlinghouse sell billions? Would Chris Larsen sell billions if they thought this thing's gonna moon to 589? Get the fuck out of here. It doesn't make any sense. Would Jeb McCaleb sell $69 million a week as fast as he can, as many tokens as he can? Yeah, I get it. You sell some, you build a big fat house. You buy a Ferrari, you buy a yacht to put your yacht into. But after you've bought stuff and you already have money, why do you keep selling? You keep selling because you don't believe the story that you're selling the rest of us. And again, at some point, people need to think. I don't care what they say. Look at what they're doing. They sold every fucking coin that they have as quick as possible. It's the same thing with Chainlink. These douchebags, everybody's like, oh, they're awesome. Chainlink. It's the future. They're awesome. Really? They're so fucking awesome. How come the developers sell as many tokens as they can based on their lockups as quick as possible? Every token they've got, all of it, gone, gone, gone. Why the fuck would you do that if you really believed in the asset? You wouldn't. It doesn't make sense. So what they're saying is not what they're doing. And if you know that's the case, you just have to take a step back. I'm not saying it's not a good investment. Listen, XRP, it keeps going up. So as an investment, maybe not, but as a trade, it's still a good trade. You can probably make money off of it, but just know what you own. Understand what you own, and then you can make these responsible decisions. And then you can not be a maximalist. And if you're not a maximalist on a token, then your eyes open to all the opportunities. Leroy and I made all of our money by being money maximalists, but not token maximalists. And there's a big difference. And I think to be a competent investor, you can't be married to any of these things. Do you kind of, Funcho, when you talk to your people, do you kind of explain that idea of maximalism and how that tribalness can be bad?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, what you've said there is bang on the money in terms of the same way that I apply things to my students, because you can't have any emotional attachment to this. You know, you have to remember why you got into it in the first place, and then not be blinded by the lights, not be blinded by the green candles, not be attached to any, you know, aspect of the technology. As great as some of it is, you know, if you've got a goal that you've got in mind and you've got a strategy that you've got in place, you need to undertake that, and you can't be attached to anything. And, you know, mentioning some of the things that you've already brought up as well, Nick, that really just ring true in my head, and I'm completely with you on, is I was in that conversation with you about XRP and about going and sorting out that escrow, and, you know, that look at the amount of people that were brought together in that group, but something that's actually about the greater good here, and that separation of the two, to me, it is pretty obvious. Like you said with MoneyGram, it is totally obvious. And I know full well, personally, someone that's, you know, still got some XRP, you know, I'm not sitting around thinking that this is going to $10, because it's not. You know, that's my opinion, and I just don't see from a tokenomics standpoint how it's even possible. But at the moment, it's a good trade. You know, how much longer it stays that way is up for discussion. Obviously, you know, let's see what happens with the whole SEC court case, and, you know, I'm not thinking long term that I'm holding on to XRP, because I don't think that's the smartest move to make, but that's my opinion, you know. And I just think that the more of these projects that pop up that have not got the right values in place, and the more that you get experience being in this marketplace, and you start to realize whether people are just in this to make a quick buck or not. You know, the fact that Brad and Chris are in so much trouble, and they are going to get slapped with one hell of a fine, you know, you don't sell that sort of amount of tokens and cash them in unless there's some sort of problem. You know, that wasn't a house worth. You know, that's one hell of a house that you're building. If you're selling that amount of XRP, it doesn't make sense to me. So you have to start questioning at that point. And I think a lot of people did question, you know, what's going to happen here? And that sort of detachment, you have to be ready to think, well, yeah, there is a good chance that Ripple may not have XRP as part and parcel of this whole thing moving forward. So if you're not prepared for that, and you haven't got an exit strategy in place, then it could turn out to be costly for you. So, you know, you've got to have your head switched on with this stuff. And it's a scary prospect, actually, what's likely to happen moving forward with XRP. And I feel bad for members of that community that have not got the same level of education in this, and just see it as, you know, oh, the rest of the community think it's going to do well, so yeah, woo, let me go buy some more. It's you know, you need to understand what you're doing when you come into this market, otherwise you can just get wiped out.
Well, and that's so important too, Funcho, is that a lot of people think, oh, I'm in crypto, I'm here to get rich. And you know, investing's easy. You know, you just put money in and you just win. You know, economics is easy. Finance is easy. I mean, it's easy. Basically, you just put money in and you just get more money out. It's that easy. Obviously, I'm being cynical, but you guys see that this is not easy. You're here early. A lot of the people here are going to do these two things. One, they're going to make money. They're going to make value and currency units because they're here early. And over the next few years, as these network effects kick in, many of you are going to see more currency units than you've ever seen in your entire life. And then the market's going to be saturated and become a fully formed market. And that might be 2 years to 3 years. And then about 80% of you will give it all back. And 20% of us will be the recipients of that. And the difference is your willingness to do research right now and to understand the things that you own, understand why you own what you own, and in a greater, more broader sense, just understand economics in general, incentives and game theory, and just the basic structure of markets, and how the whole world isn't going to go, you win, and just bend over and say, go ahead, crypto, off you go, take over everything. It's just not that simple. This occurs in fits and starts. And I believe everybody has an opportunity to both make money right now, make currency units for free, just because you're here first, literally just converting bad money to good money. But you owe it. I would hope you would want to owe it to yourself and to your families to dig in and learn this space, not just the digital asset space, but finance in general, so that you can keep that wealth that you've created. And the reason, to answer Leon, the reason we still talk about XRP is because it's relevant. XRP is still the 5th largest asset. So we can't say it's not relevant. We can't say they don't have a big community, and we can't ignore that community. And, we also talk about it because this is going to be a cautionary tale. It's one way or another, it's going to be a cautionary tale, and we're going to learn things from the entire up and down and sideways of the Ripple XRP story, right? That timeline. Maybe it looks like the Fed funds rate, where over time it goes up. And maybe it looks like an inverted yield curve, which is as jacked as the word describes it, inverted, right? Where over time value is destroyed. And I would urge everyone, if we have a 3-year window where these markets are going to basically just bloat and go up, and you know that, just be careful where you park your value. Make sure that you're not waiting for that 589 moonshot while Ethereum goes from $140 to $1,800. And where are we at right now? Let's see, $1,821, while XRP was right around 40 to 50 cents, and Bitcoin went from 12,000 to 48,000, and Cardano went from 3 cents to fucking 92 cents, and DOT went from $2 to $28, and XLM went from 8 cents to 47 cents. Graph token went from fucking 2 cents to $2.59 today. VeChain went from less than a penny to 5 cents. I mean, I can go down the whole fucking list. And so what pisses me off is that people would rather let their religion, they would let that weird, misplaced, zealotous religion over a fucking coin, which is weird. It's like you're being religious about electrons. You're going to let that get in the way of just benefiting from this greater market expansion. It's just the craziest thing. I just want to shake people and wake them up. I don't know. Let me ask you this, Buncho. How do you push people over the edge when they become too tribal? What's your come to Jesus talk? I know there's a come to Jesus talk.
Oh, well, it tends to be showing evidence and also getting people to understand an industry growth, and looking at the fact that when you're just sat in one thing, you're missing the rest of the world. It's like going to a theme park and only going on one ride, that same ride every time you go. And there are so many amazing experiences out there, so many things that, you'd come back and tell all your friends about, and give them the opportunity to take advantage of that too. But if you're only willing to go on that one ride, then it's kind of like, it's boring. What kind of life are you living? You've got to look at the whole marketplace and think, right, where are my pillars of structure going to be? Okay. And we know that, the Bitcoins, the Ethereums right now, as sort of that structure, that base. And then what industry sectors are flying into this marketplace at the moment? Which ones are solidifying themselves? And thinking about, well, what coins are there that are in those industry sectors, and why is it likely to grow? Why is it going to continue to? Is it supply chain? Is it NFTs? Is it DeFi? Is it staking? What is it? And then really thinking about it and understanding these projects and understanding what that growth looks like, and then being able to, ultimately, let's be honest, the financial aspect of it. If you're able to turn around and say, okay, yeah, Bitcoin's done really well. There's Bitcoin. You're tribalist to Bitcoin. You're only Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the only one. It's the Mecca. Yeah, Bitcoin's gone up from here to here. Okay, well, what about this diversified portfolio that I'm showing you here that's completely outperformed Bitcoin, because we've also got into some other ones, because we've been a bit more sensible looking at some of the other areas that we can potentially invest and diversify that portfolio. And that tends to be the sort of nudge over the edge where it's like, oh, I didn't realize that this one could do this and that one could do that and this can make this. And that tends to be it. Plus, just being able to have a conversation, having more knowledge is so important, because people can identify that when they're having a conversation with you. It's like, oh, I can't really argue with this guy because I only know about Bitcoin. He knows about this. He's looking at the whole market. He's been in it for longer than me. He knows about the technology behind them. That type of conversation tends to come around to, I think that what you're saying actually makes more sense.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, well, this is maybe a rhetorical question, but do you think that part of the tribalism in all of crypto is because in many of these cases, people were sold a magical fairy tale type dream, meaning, put your money in Bitcoin, it's going to a gazillion, and that's all you have to do. It's easy. It's mind numbing. You can just do one thing, switch one lever, and sit back and wait until you're rich. And, XRP, put your money in XRP. All of you guys driving John Deere tractor trailers, you're going to inherit the entire planet Earth, because everyone knows the whole world is going to use XRP for everything. We're going to be filling up our cars with XRP in the gas tank. It won't even take gas anymore. It'll take XRP. And at that point, the guys on mowers that were listening to these retards on fucking YouTube tell you that it's going to $589 a token because a fucking cartoon bear told you, or because a cartoon Ridley guy that has socks and there's 4 black lines on one sock but only 3 on one sock, that clearly means 7. So that's July, and then there's 3 white, July 3rd, and then there's that. So July 3rd XRP goes to 589. And then they go, no guarantees, but that's probably what's going to happen. And so, and it's not just then, it's like all of these, you have Link Marines, you have all these dumb, weird kind of cultures that form, and they go from being a cool community, and then they start to transition into this kind of grotesque kind of monster. And then it becomes like, Scientology, where if you try to get out, they hunt you down. They show up at work. They're smoking cigarettes. They're like, we're onto you. We know that you bought some Ethereum. No one leaves the Ripple army. You know what I mean? You don't just leave the Ripple, the Link Marines. You're a war. What is it? The people that exit military, they there's a term for it when people bail. Anyway, deserter. You're a deserter. You're a Link Marine deserter. We're gonna hunt you down and imprison you in shameful fucking YouTube lore or whatever. And I think that there's this weird cultism, and sometimes I think maybe it's better. It's like people would just rather join a cult. They just Jim Jones that shit. What do you think?
You crack me up, man. Yeah, it's so accurate though, because different people. I'm glad that I went off and looked at technology. That's what got me in. It was the technology, not someone selling me on a particular coin. And it's actually scary how tribal and how cult-like some of the communities can be. You know, I've been in rooms on Clubhouse. I've been on different websites. I've been in different groups on WhatsApp, different groups on Facebook, where it's like, wow, you know, is everyone in here feeling and acting exactly the same way as the main speakers, or are they in here to get what they can knowledge wise, and when they come out go, oh, I learned a lot today, but those guys in there are absolutely crazy. You know, there's people at different levels. You know, I've had conversations with some people that have gone into, you know, Bitcoin maximalist rooms, and they come out of it and they've got nothing but knowledge, which is great. Okay. But there are people that go in and I don't think they're ever coming back out. You know, it's that level of crazy. And it's a shame because the market is like, this is, from an opportunity standpoint, amazing for people. You know, it's not, oh, I'm Bitcoin and that's it, and I'm holding on for dear life. Well, what about all the up and coming ones that might get you 10, 15, 100 times more gains than Bitcoin just because you refuse to look at anything but Bitcoin? I mean, that's just, it's insane to me. I know that people are entitled to their own opinions, and that is absolutely fine. But all I say is, before you go in and hold on tight to one, please just have a look around, you know, get some information, gain some knowledge, understand the market, listen to lots of other people from lots of other places, and then make your decision. Because I feel like not enough people have done that, and they're losing out as a result of it, actually.
I would probably add to that, because I think you're really right. I mean, it really does boil no one likes to hear this. Go do some research. You know, Antonio over on Clubhouse, the one thing he tells people, he says, go back and read Bretton Woods agreement. You need to understand the nexus, like where we're coming from to see how we got here. Okay, so go read Bretton Woods, learn about the nature of money and the idea of pegging to gold and pegging other currencies. Then look how it fell apart. Then read the Bitcoin white paper, right? And you can't even start in this space if you haven't at least taken a glance at the white paper, because you don't know how it started. When people won't even do that, it's 9 pages. You can read it in 10 minutes. You won't understand any of it, but you can read it. And if you're not willing to do that, I'm going to tell you, you haven't earned the right to invest in crypto. At least you haven't earned the right to know what the fuck is going on when you're in here. And, you know, I posted a pretty cool quote from Sicario, where Benicio del Toro was basically warning people. He's like, you know, he said, you should go move somewhere where the rule of law still exists, because you're not safe here, because you're not a wolf. And this is the place of wolves now. This is a very dangerous place. You will get your fucking clock cleaned, and you will lose all of your stuff, and you will just kind of be spinning around in a circle. Especially those of you that lived through 2017, 2018 and realize what happened. Many people got their necks broken, right? They got gutted emotionally. They got gutted financially, but not everybody. And the people that were willing to do the research and understand why they were holding what they were holding, they're still here. And guess what? They've all made money, because even when Bitcoin crashed all the way down from 20K, it's at 48,000 right now. And when Ethereum crashed all the way down to 110, 120, or $90, it crashed to $90. It's up at 1,800. You know what that is? That's a 20x. If you knew what you were holding and you held on, you're doing just fine. And that goes back to that research. So I guess my final thoughts, and I'd love to hear yours. My final thoughts are, as you go into this weekend, take some time, back out a little bit. Maybe take a little profit. If you have any positions that you've done quite well in, maybe take your original investment off the table into your preferred currency unit of choice, and take a little time. Go read the Bretton Woods agreement. It'll be fun. I'm sure there's videos on YouTube. You can listen to it if you want. Go read the Bitcoin white paper. And if you don't like that, listen to a YouTube video, Bitcoin white paper for dummies, or any of the other 400,000 goddamn Bitcoin white paper synopsi, right? Do a little really basic ground level research. Then go to cryptoandcoffee.tv, go to the resources section or the research, and look at the top 20 assets. And I want you to read about them until you can explain in one sentence what they do. That's my advice for this weekend. Funcho, what's your thoughts and your advice for this weekend that people could do to kind of get their head right for next week?
Yeah, so I think it's extremely important to be doing the research. You know, if there's something that has caught your eye and you're thinking, I might get into this, exactly as Nick said, you've got to go off, you've got to understand it in a way where you can go and explain it to a child in 30 seconds or less, and that child understands it. If you're able to do that, then you've got a pretty good understanding of what it is. Okay, then on top of that, I again echo what Nick's saying. You've got to take a step back out of the entire scenario. Look at the marketplace and go, well, actually, this has been going absolutely nuts. You know, was it likely to continue to go as nuts if it wasn't for what Elon had done? Now, I was expecting that marketplace to retract a little bit. So I have to say exactly the same as what Nick said. If you've made some really good profits in the last week, you know, consider taking some of it out at least. You know, not all of it. You want to make sure you're still in the game and strong, moving up. But, you know, you've definitely got to consider that, because the other thing you've got to think about is, what if the market does retract? At least you're in a position then where you've took some nice profits to actually jump back in and add to positions even stronger moving forward. But me personally, I also have to say that chill out, spend some time with your family, have a nice meal, maybe watch a movie, maybe a glass of wine, listen to your favorite songs, and also enjoy life. It's not all crypto, only 99%. 1% of the time you can enjoy life too.
And in that 1%, don't do anything my poor insolvent, super smoked out high grandmother wouldn't do. And she is smoking Cheese Whiz. I don't know how you do it. It has something to do with like a straw and methamphetamine and like a lighter. And then you like flip it and the gas comes out. I mean, grandma, right?
Hey, this is the Prophet with Nick Black. It's time to chit chat. You know nothing about blockchain. We here to fix that. You want the news on them new stocks? This where you get that. So go and grab you a nice chair. It's time to sit back and talk to Prophet. Hey, hey, you talking to the Prophet? Hey, hey. We talking condos and nice clothes and driving Lambos. I remember them night codes, we couldn't stand those. We tried to drive on them house roads, but had to stay low. Now there's solutions to hard bills we couldn't pay for. I talked to Prophet to get some profit, we couldn't change the top. If it's a stock and I need a cop it, I wait for him to drop it. Ain't no option, let's get it poppin'. We chillin' in the drop. I need some crypto, put it in my pocket by any means I rock. This is the Prophet with Nick Black. It's time to chit chat. You know nothing about blockchain, we here to fix that. You want the news on them new stocks? This where you get that. So go and grab you a nice chair. It's time to sit back and talk to Prophet. Hey, hey, you talking to the Prophet? Hey, hey, you talking to the Prophet?